Hello everybody. I've been wanting to do a video on the resin stuff that I've been making. Um, I'm not an expert, so this is strictly just my experience and my understanding of it, but I thought I would share. And I've done a few different projects, but before I get into the actual projects, I thought I would do like a background video of all the basic things that I have, and that, if you want to try it, you might want to get as well. I'm not an expert again, so this really is just my opinion. There might be better ways and better things that you can get, but this is what I've tried so far. So first is the resin. When I first bought the resin to try, I bought it off Amazon, a kit off of Amazon, and this is UV resin, so it requires UV light. You can use sunlight, just leave it outside, or you can buy something that emits UV light. There is one that does not require UV, but it takes a long time to cure, like hours, and I'm impatient, so I don't like to wait hours. So I tried the UV, and this is the one that I tried first, and I like this brand. I don't know what brand it is. It doesn't have a name on it, but I like this one. It's a blue with a little bird and flowers on it. After this one, I tried a different brand. I wanted to get more because I didn't have a lot of this left, so I bought another one, and I bought a very big bottle. This is the second brand that I tried, also off of Amazon. But what I found is this one has a stronger odor than this does. And when I was using it, it curled. And I'll show you what I mean by that later. But I don't know, I'm not happy with my experience with this brand. So then I got another brand. This one. And this one, it does not smell quite as bad as the other one. It still has an odor, but it's a little bit milder. And sometimes this will curl, sometimes it doesn't. When I first started using it, it was okay, and then afterwards, I don't know if I was doing something wrong, but it started to curl a little bit. So I'm gonna test this out a little bit more and see if I could figure out how to get it not to curl. When working with any kind of resin, you need to be safe. They do have an odor, so you want to have ventilation. Either open up a window, or if you have a fan or something to blow the air out of the window or out of the room, you should do that. Wear a mask and wear gloves. So that's the resin. And then because this is a UV resin, you do need UV light. And there's different types of UV light. I think I put it away. The kit that I bought came with a UV light. It's a small UV light. Okay. And this is used mostly for nails, for I think gel nail polish is what it's designed for. But they use it for drying resin too, curing resin. I do not like these, to be honest, because when you press the button, it only stays on for like 5 seconds, and it's too short for most of the resin work that I have. So I have to constantly be pushing the button. So I do not like this, and it's not a large space. So some of the larger things that I work on, it's hard to dry with this. But it came with the kit, so I have it. And I used it in the beginning, but it frustrated me so much, I bought a different one. So I researched UV lights, and they recommended, I think it's a wavelength, but it's 395 to 405 nm. I don't know what nm is. So I searched it, and I found this on Amazon. And this is the one that I bought. It was the cheapest one I could find that had up to 60 seconds. So it has 5, 30, and 60. And so for most of my projects, I do like 30 or 60. If I needed to dry a little longer, I use the 60 twice, or something like that. And it has a lot more of the UV lights, so this works pretty well. I like this one. But then I have 2 separate workspaces, so this is where I do most of the work, but it's not close to an outlet. So this one I have on a cart next to the wall. And sometimes when I'm moving things from here to there, it shifts whatever it is I'm working on. And so I thought I want to harden it a little bit before I stick it under here to fully cure. And so I bought this. This is like a little flashlight UV light. This works pretty well. I am very happy with this. I mean, it's a little bit tiring. Like, well, not tiring really, but you know, you would have to hold it, and it's kind of boring to sit here just, you know, holding a light for as long as you need it. But for a quick cure, for thin, if it's thin or small, this will work well. And I use this to kind of harden things before I put it under here. If they're small things, you know, I just need to use this and that's it. And so this works really well. I'm very pleased with this one. So if you only can get one, or if you only want one, or you want one that doesn't take up too much space, I highly recommend the flashlight kind. Yeah. So then that takes care of the UV resin part. And then now everything else is just sort of extra stuff. Some that you do need, some that you don't really need, but they're helpful. Okay, so the first thing, what should I start with? You need something to put the resin in. So the UV resin, this one came in a small bottle, which is really convenient, but it didn't have a lot of these, and they go through these really quickly. The large bottles are good, but they're too large, so you need to transfer them into something smaller. And I use these little plastic cups with lids, and these work really well for me because I have a lot. I bought them for something, and I have a lot in stock, so I can just grab these. If you don't have these, you can use anything really, like paper cups or cupcake, the little cupcake holders. They do sell silicone ones, so if you have to buy something, I would recommend silicone because you can just cure it. You could take your light, cure it, and then peel it right off and throw it out, so that, you know, it's reusable. But I use these cups to put like small amounts of resin while I'm working. And because it has the lid, I can store it for later use, as long as you keep it away from sunlight, like complete pitch dark blackness. Because if it gets any sunlight at all, it will start to harden. And then you will need something to stir or to move the resin around. So initially I started working with toothpicks and popsicle sticks, and these will work. I use this kind of to stir. You can see like there's hardened on there. I use it to like stir or mix, or like to drizzle. Sometimes like to drizzle if I'm missing like an area or something. The toothpick I use like to move into corners, like with the letters and stuff. They, you know, sometimes the resin doesn't get into the corner very well, so you can kind of push it into the corners. Sometimes it can help you like move bubbles to the top so you can pop them. So you need tools. After this, I started using a paintbrush also. And this is sort of like to spread things, but I don't like it because if you don't wash them well enough, they harden like this. So I don't really like the paintbrushes. So I bought not resin. I bought silicone tools to use with the resin, and these are pretty good. They work very similar to, you know, all these things, but you can cure the resin and then just peel it off and throw it out and reuse these tools without any problem. So these are pretty good. So if you are going to buy tools, I would recommend buying a set of resin tip tools. Not resin tip, silicone tip tools. My goodness. Okay, and then I bought this also. It's like a little drill, and this is for the thicker items that you make if you want to put a little hole for the hook. So you need a little drill. I do not like this one because as I'm drilling, this always comes loose, and then the drill bit just sort of sinks in, or it stops, you know, digging the hole. So I want to get an electric one, so it's much quicker, and hopefully it'll get done faster. But you will need one if you want to put holes into the things you make for a hook or something. And then another good thing to have is a lighter of some sort. I mean, you can use matches. Matches I don't recommend because, you know, it's kind of hard to use before the flame gets out. It's hard to get the flame directed where you need it. But when you have bubbles in your resin, sometimes like just running heat over it really quickly will pop the bubbles. So you can use this if you have like an embossing tool, heat tool, you can use that also. But it's kind of wide and it blows out. So this one, it's a little bit smaller. So I use this. I actually bought a new one. I ran out. So I bought a new one, a refillable one. Yeah. And I like it so far. So those, is that all the tools? That I think is all the tools that you need. And then after that, it's just stuff to help you make what you want to make. And so that would be molds. So I bought BTS earring molds, which I made earrings with. And I made keychains also with the same mold. So this is my earrings that I made from those. They're cute, aren't they? I thought I would feel self-conscious wearing these, but they're not that bad. Especially when people are wearing a lot more flamboyant things. This kind of melts into the background. But yeah, you can make this. I also made it into a keychain for friends to dangle off of their bag or something if they want to. And it's lightweight because it's resin, so it's really nice. But you can buy, you know, there's a whole variety of molds. If you go to Etsy, there's people who sell BTS molds too, which is really cool. So you need your molds. Then you need things for the resin itself. So you can buy dyes that you put into resin to give them color. You can use glitter. I didn't pull out any glitter. So you can use glitter or sequins like this, or gold flecks. Yes, or dried flowers. You can even use the dried flowers or pretty much anything small enough that would fit in the molds that you use. So here's an example of what I made with the sequins, these little sequins that I have. And I made layers, so you can see the layers on the side here. So you can see through each layer to the layer underneath. Yeah, these came out pretty cool. The ones, this particular one didn't turn out well, but the ones that did turn out well looked pretty cool. And then you can also add glitter and make something very glittery. And of course, if you add dried flowers, you can leave it clear. You can see, you make it see-through. And you can add the gold foil. Is it called gold foil? Gold flakes. Yeah, you can make it sparkly. And they have frames, little metal frames. You can fill in the frames, or you can actually buy wire. So these, I bought this wire. It's like a flat wire, not a circle wire. And I shaped it into the army symbol and the BTS symbol, and then I filled it. So you can mold wire and use that. And this one was a experiment. So, you know, I've been making keychains, a lot of keychains, but I've been using the cabochons. Oops, sorry. Like this, right? And this is glass. And I buy them. I buy these, and then I put the picture inside of it. But these are kind of chunky. They have weight. And so I thought about people who don't like weight and how we can make it, you know, how I can make some for people who don't like that heavy weight. And I was using glossy accents. But I thought maybe I would try using the resin. And this is how this, and this one doesn't bend. The glossy accents will bend. This is pretty stiff. So you can make lightweight keychains. I like these. I think I'll make more of these actually. I really like these ones. And I can show you how I made these too. This one, they're all pretty easy, but it just takes a little practice. I bought, this is tape. It said it was resin tape. I don't know if it's strictly resin tape or not, but this one, it helps with frames like this that's open. You kind of put the tape on the back so that the resin doesn't leak underneath the frame. So I bought this for that, but I did find that I did not necessarily have to use that because I also have a silicone mat. So right now, this desktop that I have, this one is also stick resistant. And so when I use resin and I dry it on here, it will just come right off. If you use like a regular table, it might damage your table. It might not come off, but this one, it comes off, and it will come off of this as well. So if you don't have an anti-stick something or another protective layer on your desk, you may want to get a silicone pad. They're not very expensive. I found these on Amazon also. So I like to work on this because I can just lift this up and like move it around. This one, it kind of stays on my desk. So I use this, and what I found is like one side, it's kind of dull and it doesn't stick. It's not sticky at all. But the other side is shiny. And this side is a little bit, it's not sticky to the touch, but it sticks. So like if you want to put this here, you press it down, it sticks. It's not going to fall off. This side, I believe it will fall off. This side, it doesn't stick. So what I found is like when I work on these, I can just press it into this and it will hold the frame so that the resin doesn't leak through, which is exactly the same thing as the tape. So if you get this, you don't need the tape. Yeah. I'm not talking too fast, am I? I just realized that I might be talking really, really fast. I got a bunch of these in my kit. If you want to make keychains and such, you may want to buy some of this stuff. These are the hooks. Oops. I bought gold and silver keychains, so I have gold and silver hooks. So you would drill the holes for these. And then you need, what are these things called? O-rings? Yeah, O-rings. And then you can put your keychain or whatever onto those. So you need some of these if you want to make keychains. So I think I covered everything. I believe so. So this will be my first sort of just background video of resin. And I will start making like one project at a time, depending on what I'm able to do at that time. So stay tuned, and I will come back with more resin things. Bye.